because the heat has melted her internet, Marcy will be joining us a little bit later in the stream, and Marissa is away on wedding business. Then now that that's kind of all sorted and we've got all of our technical issues done, we're going to go ahead and start the stream popper. So guys, thanks so much. Welcome back to the actuality, Vizsla. And once again, I am joined by Hopper, who is playing
Twigg, apostate, who eats knowledge. Nom, 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 nom.
as well as Bill, who is playing.
Hi, I am playing Maurice, the weaver who turns tales into reality.
And I am but your humble GM, who is Zach, otherwise known as Great Zamino on Twitter, Twitch, and all the places that are cool. So thanks again for joining us, and we're going to go ahead and give you guys a brief recap of what happened in the last episode. So as you guys may have seen in the previous episode, we got a chance to meet our cast of characters. We also were introduced to the world of Saturnine, as well as character creation and neighborhood creation, as well as a lot of the major concepts that go into building the experience of the campaign itself. And not only that, but we were joined by Twigg in the actuality, who, after ending up on the wrong side of the barrel of a gun, ended up getting thrown into the deeps of sleep and summoned by a creature that was known only to the rest of the group as the Imperial Soul, a massive angel-like figure that lives within the heart of the Blue Sun. One of the things that we didn't get a chance to cover last time was some of the experience and kind of character summaries towards the end. While we're not going to kind of waste time and go over that right now on this stream, it's suffice it to say that everybody has been awarded either a point of joy or despair, depending on some of the actions that they undertook in the previous episode. And not only that, but everybody was awarded one acumen for their various feats of bravery and ingenuity. So with that being said, you know, we find our heroes in a very kind of interesting situation. Twigg has been deposited in front of the Acclimation Center in Fartown, one of the Vizsla-centric districts within the city of Saturnine. And both Maurice and Gavriel have awakened from outside of their own bed and are currently dealing with an angry neighbor. But before we get back to them, we're going to actually kind of start with the story from Twigg's perspective. Twigg, you've been approached by this gentleman with flaming red hair and amber eyes outside of this massive brutalist building. And you can't help but notice that it seems like he's having to shout at you, but the air around the building is a little bit muted, and he has welcomed you to the City of Notions. What is the first thing that you do?
Well, I don't remember anything except for a certain amount of extreme fuckery that just occurred. So, who are you?
And he takes a look at you and just kind of cocks his eyes at you. And he says, well, since you're asking, my name's Marlin. And he extends a hand.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Fair enough. I guess I'll go to shake his hand.
Yeah, and he kind of pulls you into a quick embrace and kind of like, kind of helping you off your feet, but it seems like a little herky-jerky. Just kind of very sudden, kind of like a lurch. And he says, come on in.
I guess like I will Twigg is going to this is all very uncomfortable and everything's real weird.
Oh yeah, no.
I guess
Hey, we're here for authenticity, man. So
Yeah, like, dude, I don't know what's going on in real life, in game, or in
yeah, just moments ago,
actuality in game.
yeah, like moments ago, you were in this massive expanse of blue, surrounded by all this surreal imagery, and only minutes before that, you were in an alley in the middle of Detroit. So yeah, this
Yeah,
is
I got shot in the head, and then there was like an 8-winged angel, and then there was a bunch of angry locusts screaming horrible things,
mhm.
and then magic,
And then
and now I'm here.
magic in the biggest way.
Like, I'm still pretty convinced I'm either dying or dead.
Yeah,
Like, that's the most logical explanation to Twig.
absolutely. And he's kind of like pulled you, and he kind of turns over his shoulder and says, Tom, get out here, meet the new guy. And kind of walks into this giant arched entrance into the building proper. What do you do?
I guess I'm gonna tag along. I'm gonna pitter patter after him.
Yeah, and Mhm.
And this is into this big brutalist concrete structure.
Oh yeah, it's fairly
Cute.
Maurice, correct me if I'm wrong. This is a fairly kind of oppressive building.
Yeah, like imagine like all over like Brooklyn, you see those like old like bread factories or whatever that are just still standing there like anachronistically, and like
Mhm.
yeah,
Alright.
nothing appealing, everything industrial.
Yeah, I know the type.
Exactly, and as you walk in, the very first thing you see is you see Marlin kind of leading the way, and you're kind of seeing this kind of tips of the trail of this long red hair, like reaching back to his shoulders. And there's kind of like this moment of darkness after you go through this rotating revolving door, and you are hit by kind of like this kind of gray, almost fluorescent style light. And the very first thing you see is a tall, lean skeleton staring at you with two pinpricks of pale green light looking at you. And it seems to be emitting this low, hissing. What do you do?
Well, first, I feel a little bit smug because this is confirming my theory that I am in fact dead.
Mhm.
So fuck it. What's the worst that could happen?
All right.
And I'm just like, so are you Tom?
Thomas. Oh, and Marlin says, "Oh, I was hoping he was gonna freak the hell out of you. That's Tom Bones." And Thomas is kind of turns and kind of very slowly looking at Marlin and says, "You're such an asshole, Thomas Qtrid." And it extends a bony hand.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so I'm gonna give him a little bit of a dap.
Okay, so you give him a
like, it's one thing if you've got like meat hands, but if you're just like bone, I don't know how I feel about I don't know how sanitary that is.
So yeah, what was it? You extend your hand, you give him a dap, and seems good-natured enough about it, and at which point he says, "I am the Pale Embassy's representative here in the Acclimation Center. If you have loved ones who would reach out to you from the Pale Sun, I would be the one to make contact."
So you're like a courier.
Well, that's simplifying it a good deal.
I really want.
And yeah, so I guess I think we're frozen. 1 second.
Are we?
Hold on. You frozen
I was
to-
trying to think. That's. I was trying to think of the post office quote. I was going to be a dick about it. What is it? Neither wind nor rain nor snow nor night shall stop me on my way,
Yeah.
or some shit.
And the unreasonably poetic USPS.
Yeah. Which I think I only know because of Going Postal by Terry Pratchett.
So guys, I've been notified that we are we are frozen on stream.
Cool. Since
Hopefully
when?
in a
Oh,
cool
wait.
position.
I think we're back.
Are we back though?
Hold on.
Hops, let's vamp.
I don't know what that means.
Oh, it's you're doing a great job.
Oh, cool.
Okay.
I have to get on the Discord and figure it.
Yeah, so I think we're good here. I think we're back. Okay, guys, so yeah, so Thomas has
Bill,
yeah.
can you get Marcy's number? Because I'm doing this all on phone. Can you get Marcy's number and send it to Ned?
No
Yeah.
problem.
We're still up. So yes.
Sorry, guys.
Sorry guys, so we're still dealing with technical difficulties. Thomas has introduced himself to Twigg. And has introduced himself as the representative of the Pale Embassy. And he has mentioned the Pale Sun. What do you do?
Yeah, I don't know what that means. So I'm just gonna assume it's some sort of weird, I don't know, nation state. What is that? Like a fucking Soviet satellite or some shit?
You say that to him?
No, I don't say. I'm just gonna roll with it, dude. I just dapped a fucking talking skeleton. Like, there's weirder things going on right now.
Yeah, definitely lean into
So I'm
the
just
lean.
like, well, that's rad, dude. I'm gonna go.
Are you kind of like walking past him?
I'm just gonna kind of not actually Zoidberg walk, but like side shuffle. Just kind of be like, all right, cool, nice to meet you. That's all real cool, and just kind of go. I don't actually know where I'm going. Like, just deeper into the lobby of this big ass like fucking evil building.
Yeah, you start following Marlin, and Marlin's just like, you're really adjusting well to this. This is probably the best I've seen anybody take their return from the actuality.
I mean,
or
that's
return
an
to the actuality, pardon.
That's an interesting way to describe it, but sure.
And the guy's just barely kind of like looking at you, and he says, so we're going to put you up in some accommodations. Obviously you'll be working with a couple of members of the Hendassah. If you have any questions, we're going to kind of brief you on how things work here.
Pardon, I don't know what that is.
Oh, well, the Hendassah are, that's what we are. We're an organization that predominantly deals in the extraction of exiled Vizsla from the world of shadow, the gray sun. And he's saying this very, just with a very kind of cocky mindset and kind of tone. Like, he doesn't kind of care if you're really grokking it all that well at all.
Yeah, cool story, bro. I just give him. I'm just kind of like, well, that's real awesome. Proud of you.
Yeah, well, you're a Vizsla. You know what that means, man?
No.
It means, and he kind of turns his hand, and a little bit of fire starts sparking from the palm into kind of like this very kind of like this mode of light around which the fire seems to spin. And he says, it means this is real. Come on, man. That's got to float your boat.
I'm definitely gonna stick my hand right in that.
Oh, it hurts.
Yeah.
So you stick your hand right into the fire, and I need you to, well, actually, because you've just gone ahead and done it, you take 1 point of physical damage, 1 injury.
That's fair.
Because it is fire.
I'm just like, let's get a little nice little third degree going real fast.
And immediately, as soon as you put your hand in the fire and it scalds you, he kind of like closes his hand really quick and he says, "What are you, a nut bar? Are you kidding me?"
Maybe.
And Marlon looks at you and says, "I think we're gonna get along fine. Come on in."
I'm just like, I just take my hand and I just kind of like jam it in my pocket and try to pretend that it doesn't really fucking hurt. Like, I just parboiled my goddamn palm.
Very punk rock. I like it.
So I'm just kind of like, oh, like, but yeah, cool story, bro. Screaming internally. All right, so yeah, I'll tag along after Marlon.
Awesome. Okay, so we are going to readdress that, but for now we're going to smash cut back to Maurice, and I think because we've changed locations, because this is a new part of the story, I am going to turn a card on the Path of Suns, and that card is the the misremembered dream. Oh wow, okay. So, so dreams are strange constructs of our subconscious, made stranger still because we don't remember them clearly. Some say that in shadow, people's dreams seem strange because they're remembering the actuality, and in the actuality, people's dreams resemble the mundanity of the gray. This is, at least in part, true, but of course, like anything having to do with the deepest reaches of the mind, it's much more complex than that. The line between memory and dream is already tenuous. But the memory of a dream, or the dream of a memory, who can count on that? So this one is going to amp any blue spells that are cast while it is in effect, and it is going to diminish anything that is of a red sun color. So I think, yeah, so kind of starting off with that as the tone, Maurice, tell me what's going on. You are, I think at this point, Gavriel has kind of left the the house for a little bit to kind of just blow off some steam after dealing with this giant bird-headed Elderbrin that was really pissed off at you.
Right.
So what are you doing in the moment of relative peace that you have?
So, I, really wanted to talk to Gavriel, but she needs her time. So I'm kind of pacing around my apartment, which is, imagine a rent-controlled Upper East Side apartment that has had the same tenants for 40 years. It's got a couch and a lazy boy from 1970, and it's wood paneled walls, and kind of boxes of stuff kind of stacking up around. There's framed newspaper clippings and odd pictures, quite a few of the moon landing, a little bit of a collector. And I'm kind of pacing around the living room thinking, and Duncan is kind of curled up on the armchair, awaiting his morning walk.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking about how best to get everybody that I just saw in the blue together again.
Nice.
I'm thinking, how I might have the better luck finding them, whoever they are, than maybe Kyrrie, because I don't even know where to find her, really. It's been so long.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking are these called ephemera that we
Yeah.
got?
These
Hold on just a second.
these are one-use magical objects, or typically one-use, that can be acquired, much like potions or just kind of like ammunition and all manner of magical items. Typically, the number that most that people can carry at the start of the game or start of the campaign is actually 3. So, yeah, which ephemera are you looking at?
So I think Maurice is going to use Carried on the Whispers of Moths.
Nice.
It says I get to send a message to any 5 beings I choose, which I think, even though I don't know who Hopper's character is, I think I have an imprint of who this being is, having seen him in the blue. So I want to send a message to Gavriel, to them, and to Kyrrie to meet me at the castle at sundown.
You're gonna just say meet them at the castle on sundown. Okay. And is there any additional conditions? Can anybody respond or reply?
They hear the message no more than an hour later, transported to them in the form of a glittering moth. Nothing about response.
Okay.
All right, Gandalf, I see you.
Fly, you fools.
And yeah, so you send this message. And okay. So I think at this point it is early-ish in the morning, having just sent away. Actually, you know what? Because you were waking from a dream, it was fairly. I bet it was like fairly late. And because when you kind of suddenly wake from a dream in the middle of sleep, it's typically like 4 or 5 in the morning whenever you have like REM sleep. And I'd say it's just now getting towards dawn in the city. And so you are beginning to kind of get ready for the actual start of your day. Maybe a little bit tired, maybe a little bit worse for wear. But that said, if you would like to start maybe morning walk for Duncan, or...
Yeah, absolutely. I put on the coffee and put on the leash, and we'll go take our morning constitutional.
Excellent. All right, so you walk out the door, and describe your neighborhood for a little bit for me, for the audience. What is it like in this part of Fartown where you are, where you've made residence?
So walking out the front door, there's a little entranceway sidewalk from my little 2-story flat apartment. The first floor is just a lobby with a desk and no doorman, and only the one buzzer for my apartment. And you walk out to this edge of the sidewalk, and there's a very old New York City style street lamp and sidewalk that begins to branch out to the right and left, but ends abruptly where my house ends. And if you look behind me, there's the I guess that's like static, liquidy fuzz that is the edge of Fartown, the border where this realm ends. So it's very much on the outskirts, not a convenient place to get to. And this was the place where my house occupies was like a nice, clear, natural border between my 2 neighbors that's kind of sandwiched in between. Looking off to the edge, you can kind of see like the skyline of Fartown as much as it is, and the kind of the light bouncing off of the early morning clouds, and we have our regular route that takes us out and about and ends on the final curve towards past the castle of the Lie and then on the way back.
Nice.
So it's a very residential neighborhood.
Cool. And I think as you're kind of walking through, I think you see a variety of people. You see, I think you see your neighbor as well, Sammy, who's out kind of running. And she immediately kind of looks to you and says, "Morning, Maurice. Can't stop. Catch up later. Got a new recipe I want to run by you."
Oh, sounds delightful.
And yeah, just keeps running. And then as you're kind of like making your way, you see just kind of a number of different vehicles as you start kind of getting into the high traffic area of the Castle of the Lie, and kind of this area probably like seems like it's coming from around the area of the False Arch. And as you take a look and you see these different vehicles, you see one person mounted aboard a giant what looks to be a white kitten with massive butterfly wings. No saddle, just kind of holding on, but doing so very confidently. There is what looks like to be what was it? A balloon, like a massive balloon's carriage, being held aloft by what look to be two giant flying swans, and it's carrying what looks like to be two fairly fancily dressed ladies, kind of just flying through the main traffic area. And then, apropos of nothing, you see a massive yellow taxi that seems to be almost double wide, kind of going through one of the main intersections leading into towards the Castle of the Lie. And as you begin kind of making your way to the castle, you notice that there is a new banner being held above, or being suspended in the air about 5 or 10 feet from the main entrance, and it's massive type slab serif font that reads "New exhibition opening soon."
Ooh.
Yeah, so
I love this city.
Yeah, it's definitely, I think it probably definitely makes your day, and it kind of you kind of wonder, because that would mean that whoever whatever they're showing off, they probably got it from Gray Memories. Maybe something new's come in.
Oh, I should go check that out. And I think that for every minute I spend away from the sense of urgency that I had when I awoke is quickly being subsumed by my normal routine.
Nice. Yeah.
And I'm wondering if the dream was really just a dream, and what exactly did happen. And but that new exhibition looks real exciting. I wonder where he got it. And I should definitely go check out Great Memories. Maybe
Excellent.
I'll do that after work today.
Yeah, so you are making your way, I think, back from the Constitutional with Duncan. Are you going to put Duncan back at home, or do you take him with you to work? What do you do?
Duncan will come to work with me, but it's still quite early, so we'll drink some coffee, read I'll buy a newspaper on the
When you say we, do you mean you and Duncan drink coffee?
Well, I mean, he yeah, the dog does not drink, but he joins me. He's very always within like arm's reach. So yeah, we'll go back and have breakfast and very routine. This is what we do, and then off to the Acclimation Center.
I love that. Yeah, so I think speaking of the Acclimation Center, let us cut back to Twigg. And Twigg, you very clearly hear, and it's about basically maybe 20 minutes since you're in your kind of like entrance in after meeting Thomas and Marlin, and Marlin is showing your temporary accommodations, which are essentially just a very spare room. Everything, the design is almost like basically like a hostel, or it's just very bare bones. And there's very little in the way of creature comforts. There's a bed, and there's just very kind of plain linen. But you do notice that one of the linens, probably the duvet cover, seems to be slightly shifting in chromatic hue. It seems to be kind of slightly changing color over time. And Marlin looks at you and says, "Well, this is your room." And as he starts talking, you hear a message clear in your head. from a familiar voice from your dream. And it says, meet me at the castle at sundown.
Huh. Well, now I'm hearing things. This is not an improvement.
Excuse me?
Is it normal to hear voices in your head
No.
that aren't yours?
Well, I mean, for some people, sure. Sometimes, spells talk to people. People send messages. Sometimes what you're
Of course
wearing,
that's-
he'll have a conversation with you.
Of course that's a thing. Wow. Okay. All right. What's the castle?
The castle? The castle of the lie? What do you know about the castle of the lie? You've been here about 5 minutes.
Voices in my head, bro.
All right. Okay. Well, anyway, look. So we'll sort that out in a minute. I can start answering more questions. If you want to talk to anybody about the castle of the lie, that's Mo Gray. Trust me, he's gonna be the person you want to talk to. Oh, and also here's a pamphlet. We give them out to people who are new to the city of Satyrine, and he hands you a pamphlet.
Just take that and tuck that into a pocket.
As you take it, you are glancing at the text on the pamphlet, and you see it drain from the pamphlet, leaving only the very artfully done painting of what looks to be a massive train spiraling around a track that it just seems to have no kind of coherence to actual engineering principles you are familiar with. And you watch as the words of the pamphlet slowly drain into your hand, and you watch the ink crawl up your wrist. And it's frightening at first, and then it's invigorating. You didn't notice it, but you were a little hungry when you entered, and it's immediately like you took a bite out of a burrito. You're just
That's very specific.
oh wow. It's just like something like quick comfort food. It's just like And then Marlon sees this, and he looks, oh god. You're a logivore.
What now?
You're a logivore. You eat knowledge. Do you? Oh man. Oh, okay. We're gonna have to put you some restrictions. Like you can't go to any of the libraries. Like Grin's Grammary is just outright no. There's no way. I mean, what was it? The Garen would have my hide.
I'm just gonna nod like I know what he's talking about.
Yeah. But here's the thing: is having touched the pamphlet, you have some sense now of the city. You understand that this is the Indigo Sun, that this is Satyrine, the city of notions. You have some general foundational knowledge now of the city. Like, okay, there are 17 districts, one of which is the Topiary district, one of which is the Marquis Quarter. Just like all of this kind of miscellaneous information, and it's kind of like just like, almost like pleasant marketing speak is kind of like circulating in your head. And speaking of your head, as you are thinking about this, Marlon says, oh, that's new. And he's pointing to your hair.
I just like kind of really hesitantly reach up, and I'm just like, oh fucking god, what is it? Is there like a lizard or like something?
No, it's purple now. That's weird. Yeah, it was. What was the color when you entered into the Acclimation Center?
I forget. I think maybe red.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, it's red. And he's like, oh, well, it's purple now.
Huh. Cool. That's kind of gnarly. All right. I guess being dead isn't that bad.
And then
all right.
So look,
So Food.
Food. Well, let me see if I can get you some books or something, but we just have to be very careful because if you start eating books willy-nilly, people are going to get very angry at you, and sometimes they are people you don't want to be on the receiving end of. Let me just tell you something. The Parasad would probably just outright classify you as a threat, so just be careful.
Did the Parasad, is that something that I consumed from that pamphlet, or is that, I'm just like,
No.
I don't know what the fuck that is.
And he's like, oh, well, it's the Vance. You know, the Order of the Vance, the Parasad, they're like altruists. They kind of come in, they help with magical disasters and stuff like that. But, you know, if you're not careful, if you walk into a Vancian library, oh man, you are going to be considered a class 5, like, apex disaster. I don't even know how they'd even deal with you, man.
I mean, that's what my last ex said, so.
Yeah. All right. Well, look, hang out here. There's a group kind of community center. There's a group discussion going on right now for people who have just returned to the actuality. You know, make yourself at home. Just don't go far. Don't leave the remediary. And you learn from the kind of brief tour that he gave you that the remediary is basically the block of floors of accommodations for newly arrived Vizsla.
All right. Cool. Thanks, Marlon. I'll take that under advisement. See you around.
All right. Well, yeah. Look, I'm kind of busy, kid. So if you ever need anything, maybe just wait. Maybe for like Mogray or maybe like Bug Thomas. I got a lot of paperwork to fill out. Okay.
Rad, dude.
Yeah. All right. And he kind of turns.
Like, if there's a way to say "fuck you," but in the tone of "fuck you," but saying "rad, dude." That's kind of what I'm just like. Yeah, sure.
And then he looks at you and like trying to acquaint himself with the like rad, and then he's like, oh, wizard. Okay, and he just leaves. Yeah. So I think we're having we might be able to have Marcy rejoin shortly. So we're going to take a quick 5-10 minute break here momentarily to see if we can fix those technical issues, and when we get started back, we'll hopefully have Gavriel back in the party. And we're back. Welcome, everybody. Once again, we are rejoined by Marcy, who is...
Hi.
Hello. Who is playing...
Was that my cue?
Yeah, that's your cue. Sorry.
I'm playing Gavriel Glinsky, our resident ardent apostate who's hosting a choir.
Excellent. Yeah, so thanks guys for putting up with our technical issues. So now that we've kind of gotten our third member back together, what is Gavriel doing after storming off for a minute to blow off some steam after the dealing with the Elderbryn matriarch?
So I think at first she was just out in the general neighborhood. I mean, she doesn't really know it too well, so let me see. What's a good place for her to get lost? My resident people that have been there for a long time.
Let me see. To get what?
To get lost.
Oh yeah, I think you're in Fartown, so it's pretty easy to get lost anywhere you go. You can just kind of start. You're probably familiar with the area around the False Arch, and probably familiar with the area around the Castle of the Lie, just because I'm sure Maurice has taken you there a great deal.
Probably. I mean, and I do tend to hang out around the Castle of the Lie quite a bit. Stolen a few things from there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, more like liberated. I liberated a few things from that.
Yeah.
What I remember
Liberated.
is the area of the False Arch is kind of towards the edges of the border, and it has that rat goblin infestation, so that's probably a place where not a lot of people live.
Yeah, I think you start hearing as you're kind of like walking. You probably start hearing some familiar kind of like gnawing of, and just what was it? It's kind of like Pizza Rat, or anything, or like rats on the subway. You kind of see these like largish. I'd say they're probably about 2-3 feet in length from nose to tail, just kind of like scurrying down back alleys and these kind of ruined boulevards.
Well, gross.
Mm-hmm. They are. They're very gross.
Yeah, but it's we have them in Old Country. It's not, well, yes and no. But hey, listen, you stay in an apartment with 20 people in like a couple of rooms, you start getting a lot of rats. So we know how to take care of them in Old Country. I think that if she's not on a job and she's just trying to like stay out of everybody's way, she's, I mean, like, let's just like cue in all of like the emo scene music I can possibly think of, just like bring in like all of like the Green Day I Walk a Lonely Road, because that's exactly what's going on here.
Boulevard of Broken Dreams.
With like there's like a little klezmer like thrown in the background.
Thank you. Yes, exactly.
Why is that not a thing already?
I think it's at your lowest that you begin hearing just a quick kind of snatch of whispering until finally.
Gavriel, we should talk about what happened. We all wish to talk.
Well, I mean, you can literally talk to me whenever you want. You're kind of stuck here, you know that, right?
Of course. You say stuck. We enjoy this bond. The choir.
Really?
Yes. Of course.
Alright, there's no accounting for taste. What is it you want to talk about?
We were bitten by the Imperial Soul. We felt its urging, its need. We want to make sure you remain focused.
Was that bidden or bitten?
Bitten.
Yeah, what do you do? What do you
Focus.
What do you say?
I must look crazy walking around the street. I'm literally talking to myself now, but you keep saying focus, but you don't actually tell me what I'm focusing on. You know, it would kind of help if I'm supposed to be sent on a mission or even an errand to know what exactly it is that I'm doing.
We try to share as much as we know. We are lost as much as you. This relationship, it is symbiotic. We hope that in time, our purpose is revealed to us as much your purpose is revealed to you.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but you found me.
Yes, this is true.
Why?
We felt a soul in need.
Rude.
Alright.
And I
Well,
think,
you mean...
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, I think this is something that I don't think that your angels, the choir inside you, ever really bullshits you. They are basically, you get the sense that there is a sense of purpose, but it's aimless purpose. It's not kind of I think that the biggest thing that you know about them is they're very much in tune with you in that they don't know why they were bonded to you. They don't know kind of why, and this is probably something you've had conversations about before. They just know that they have to stay with you.
I don't think like Gav actually minds that they're with her. It's just more like why is this happening? I think she's just choosing to be as obnoxious as possible about I don't want like cryptic prophecies or anything like that. If you like, I'm a soldier. If you want me to go do something, that's fine. I could be chosen for a higher purpose. I just want to know where I'm going.
We will tell you as much as we know when we know it.
Well, I can't really argue with that, can I? Alright, fine. I guess I should head back. You don't think that they're going to send the Gerrans after me now, do you?
Too much is this person sound and fury, signifying annoyance.
I'm gonna
Yeah, sorry.
I'm gonna start heading back to Maurice's house.
Cool. Hold on, I'm getting a little bit of mic interference. 1 second. Okay, there we go. So, yeah, I think that at this point, Maurice, you actually encounter Gavriel on her way back.
I give her a friendly wave, walking Duncan coming from the opposite direction from you.
All right. Anything that I missed?
Hold on, I think we may have lost you. There we go.
I'm sure she'll be fine. Come inside. We have a lot to talk about.
All right. I go inside.
Okay. All right, you guys quickly enough head back into the house. What do you do? How do you begin, I should say?
Maurice asks Gavriel if she received the message that he sent. And Marcy, this happened while you were prior to being set up, but I sent a message to you and to Kyrrie and to them via a spell called Carried on the Whispers of Moths. That said to meet at the castle at I think it's clear, well, clear based on what I can actually remember. I remember the four of us. It was you and Kyrrie and the creature that was enveloped in the wings of that angel. Them, we were supposed to help them. We need to find each other. That much is clear.
You don't happen to know or have any idea of what the them is?
No. What do you remember? It's very foggy for me.
That's a good question, Zach. Is it foggy for me too? Do I feel like it's a dream, or am I very confident that that was a real event that happened?
I think that probably, I think both of you feel like you remember parts of the dream. You remember this urgent kind of message. I think that probably everything outside of the conflict may have been a little bit fuzzier.
Okay.
I think definitely your encounter with the woman kind of floating in the middle of the blue expanse, or in the deeps of sleep, as they call it, was probably a little bit fuzzier to you. You sense a familiarity there, but you also sense kind of like maybe like a call, or kind of like almost the sense that something is being obscured from you, Maurice.
Got it.
Yeah. And Gavriel, you would definitely feel like that conflict was crystal clear, and also probably the encounter with Nikolai at the beginning was definitely, it may have been kind of like a part of a recurring dream, in fact.
Do I remember shooting at the changing swarm?
Oh yeah.
Oh, great. Good.
And funnily enough, when you check your ammunition for the sniper rifle, at least you see that you have you're at least one bullet down.
Ooh. Interesting. I think then she wouldn't be viewing this as a dream if she's missing stuff in like real time.
Yeah, I think exactly. It's kind of like it's less a dream, but it's fuzzy like a dream, but you know it happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think at that point, like probably in the middle of your walk, you had received the message from Maurice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I was gonna say you guys wanted to talk.
Yeah, so Maurice is. What do you remember about them? They were Bisley, right? Had to be.
Oh, the newcomer?
Yeah, you remember there was that sensation of like new magic. I felt it when I returned from the grave.
Huh. I suspect that they're probably like us. I don't recall being dropped into Citrine the same way, but
Oh, no, but the awakening of magic, that's what I remember, and they have to be Bisley. If they are, then I mean, maybe they went to the Acclimation Center.
wouldn't that be a good place to start?
Sure,
we could go
but
there.
well, I mean, and I will. I mean, it's where I always go. But be anywhere, doing anything. And what are we supposed to do? And how is Kyrrie involved? And Gavriel, this is the most important I've felt since I arrived, and it involves you.
Well, then I'm sorry.
But you see, this is how we can both find answers. I mean, it's no accident that we were put together. Two people who don't remember our life in Saturnine, and here is the catalyst brings us together. Do you not feel that as well?
I feel a change. I remember the fight that we had in the
Right.
blue. I don't know. I don't really know much about the magic. I just only know that I've tapped into things that before I was never able to have.
Did you ask your,
Oh,
yeah?
Okay, we're dealing with the most cryptic beings ever. As far as I know, I'm to remain focused. Focused where? I don't know, but focused. But if you're also saying that you wish to be exploring the possibilities that this new potential Bisley might give us answers, well then I would never say no. To
Right.
having at least something concrete.
We should also be careful, though. I mean, I don't know what it was that we fought, but I don't think we can trust anybody.
Oh, finally.
Oh,
I have been trying to tell you this for so long, and all it took was just a giant swarm of bugs to get you to actually see things my way.
I mean, to be fair, that's not a small thing, but think about it this way. I mean, how many stories start out where you have, an auspicious beginning and you trust the wrong person? We have to guard this. We have to be careful.
Listen, I was raised Jewish. What do you think that most of my life was built on? You don't just walk up to people and trust them. It's taken me this long to even concede that you might be tolerant.
It really warms my heart to hear you say that.
Yeah, it should. That was actually a compliment, and I wasn't being sarcastic. I meant every word.
And,
You want answers. I want answers. I say we go to this meeting, and then if we have to, we storm the center and find out if this person's a Vizsla or not.
And Duncan has grabbed a tennis ball and walked over and dropped it at your feet.
Who is a good puppy? I think Gav absolutely loses it every time she interacts with Duncan.
I love that.
She starts to play with Duncan.
Oh.
So I've sent that message to you and to Kyrrie,
Mm-hmm.
to them, to meet at the castle at sundown. Is that a good plan?
Sundown it is. We'll have less, well, I would normally say we would have less eyes on us, but in this city I never know. I just naturally assume everybody's watching everybody.
Right. I feel much less anonymous.
Yes.
So if if I go to work as normal, are you going to come with me, or maybe
do
you
you
should
want
stay
me
safe?
to?
I don't know. What do you want to do?
My instincts tell me that if you are worried that we're being watched, well, then we really are in trouble. You not being trusting of everyone that you come across is a new phenomenon,
Yeah, I
and
don't
it
like it.
gives me pause.
I don't like it. Maybe we should stick together. How would I? Can you
If
just
you
hang out in my office?
Maurice, if you want to have an air that everything is normal, then obviously I can't go with you.
Right.
So that means I'm coming with you.
Wait, what?
I never said I had to actually physically be with you, I have different ways of getting around that don't require anyone knowing I'm nearby. Mission. You go to work as normal. How good are you at bluffing?
I can think of lies.
Oh boy. Alright, it's a good start. I can follow from a distance. I can follow from rooftops. I can shadow you. I can use the rifle as a scope to be able to see.
Okay.
Is that good enough?
Yeah. And
Are
then
you suspecting your own colleagues of something?
I mean, I always suspect my own colleagues. That's just how the Hendassah works. But they've never been interested in me. I had no reason to even consider anything like
It's
that.
interesting that you say that there is some sort of conspiracy.
But maybe act as though we should.
There's always a conspiracy going on. It's your question.
I'd say I'm probably getting ready to leave for work within the hour.
Great. Okay. I will be prepping to follow.
Excellent. So, hold on. It looks like we got disconnected from OBS Studio. Hold on.
Uh-oh.
Lovely.
Oh, bear with us, everybody, because the internet is melting today.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently.
Yeah. And then
Everything in my neighborhood is completely, offline.
Oh, you're kidding.
Yeah, no, it's something happened, and
Hopefully
I
okay.
talked to some of my neighbors too. Everything in our building is off.
Okay, so guys, it looks like we stopped streaming and recording. So
Oh boy, great.
Fuck.
yeah, hold on. Yeah.
How far back?
Maybe right as we were about to segue.
Yeah, if we're no longer streaming, I'm just gonna talk to Ned, who's over here. No, we're everyone is suffering from internet outages, and it's company wide. It's
Hold on.
not.
Hold on, we reconnected successfully.
Yeah. I think that.
Oh, guys, we're back.
Yay!
Stream's back.
Everything is just so hot. Things are just melting.
Yeah, sorry guys.
I know that sounds weird, but it's true.
Yeah, so yeah, it's a balmy 96 or 97 degrees outside in New York. So let's what we're going to do now is we're going to quickly smash cut back to Twigg in the Acclimation Center. What are you doing after kind of getting the once over from Marlin?
Examining my burned ass hand.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's the
because that was dumb.
yeah. You did stick your hand in a live fire.
Well, I thought it was fake. Like
What?
in my defense,
Actually,
magic isn't real.
so while we're on the discussion of this kind of like transition, I am going to go ahead and pull another card. All right, and our new card, I open in a new window, is the Forgotten Prisoner. Meanings: injustice, bad fortune, memory loss, something lost. And I think that the way this happens is you kind of get the sense, this foreboding sense, while you are in the kind of accommodations, that you feel like kind of penned in or trapped almost.
Nah. I hadn't been getting a single ounce of that. Yeah, no, I'm in like some weird little fucking bare bones hostel after I just burned the shit out of a hand. Burned the shit out of my hand on the fire some dude conjured after fist bumping a skeleton. Today has been weird.
Oh, by the way,
And I'm in some like fucking Soviet bloc Ronald Reagan era concrete evil empire building.
yeah, what was that? By the way, Hopper, move to your right a little bit. Yeah, so yeah, things are not gravy right now. Yeah, so okay, so what do you like? You have this feeling, this sentiment. What do you do about it? I mean, you basically have been given, like, you're looking at your hand. Yeah.
My hand's burned to shit. I'm kind of hangry, though I would say that's for Twigg, that's a pretty standard feeling. It's like a constant low level hangry. And I did a thing where I read a pamphlet, absorbed that information, was less hangry. So I'm very inclined to go and try some more of that, because that was cool. Like, everything up to this point has been like kind of and like a little bit more, ranging from alarming to confusing to I'm pretty sure I'm dead still. So that was cool. And apparently everything's not going to be super fun because I put shit out of my hand on fake fire. So I think I'm going to wander off and try to find something to eat.
Okay. So you take a step out of your accommodations, and I think that as you're kind of like walking down, like, you've been kind of led to this kind of central staircase. It's almost like it's almost like a firehouse, where it's like basically they have like these oaken stairs that are kind of it's very kind of turn of the century or old. It feels like it should be less stable, or it feels like it should be creaking as you walk down, but you can't help but notice like the stairs are very solid. And so it's very shocking to you when you barely, before even hearing them coming, you see somebody push past you in something of a hurry towards the upper floors as you're kind of descending the staircase to the admin where you were entered. And this person is kind of a heavyset guy, very like closely shaved head, just wearing what looked to be just kind of like stuff that, like, it seems like is not the style in where you're from. Like, it seems like completely strange. Just like a couple of what was it, polo shirts, and kind of like, well, actually it's like a polo shirt and a sweater vest with a set of khakis. His hair isn't feathered, and it's like closely cut, obviously, and it just doesn't seem to like match any aesthetic you've seen before. What do you do?
Lapels are very small. Sorry, 70s joke. I am going to try to sidestep him and go find food.
Okay.
Like, this is the least weird thing I've seen today.
Yeah, this person's huffing and puffing up the stairs, and they're out of eye shot of you as you start making your way down. And you find yourself in the admin office, kind of like the admin floors. There's a few rooms kind of like off to the side of this main hallway where you were kind of entered in, and on one side is the admin offices where you saw Thomas exit to as Marlin was kind of leading you back up the stairs towards accommodations, and then there's the main entrance to the hall, to the Acclimation Center.
Okay. I think Twigg's what I'm thinking right now. Probably gonna go ahead and stay around here a bit, just because this is the most sane place I've seen thus far. And I'm gonna go head into that admin center.
Okay.
Not sneakily, but just not trying to attract attention either.
Yeah, and I think you notice probably that seems like a skeleton crew today, quite literally. Because it is only Thomas in the back of the office, and you see that there are rows of about 24 desks in this very large kind of admin office. And the funny thing about Thomas is you're watching him what looks to be filling out files, just doing what looks to be, at cursory glance clerical work, but he seems to be moving very fast, like almost like he's been sped up by at least 50 to 100%. Like it's like watching something in fast forward minus the tracking in 1985 parlance.
That makes sense. I'm gonna stare at that for a little bit because that's surreal.
Hold on, I lost audio.
Oh man.
Oh,
we're back.
All right.
Yeah, go ahead.
Does he see
Stop
me?
melting.
No, we're back. Don't worry. Okay.
But did we die?
We did not die. I'm looking at Twitch right now. Okay.
Can he see me?
He seems to be very engrossed in what he's doing. What are you doing?
I'm gonna find something to eat.
Okay.
Be it regular food or also this new thing that I can do. That felt good.
Yeah. Yeah, there are what appear to be a few periodicals scattered throughout the office. There is one desk that seems to have a number of periodicals of many different types on it, and probably like there's just kind of like these are very gray, very monochromatic desks under what appear to be the equivalent of the magical equivalent of fluorescent light that you notice doesn't seem to have a real source. It's just kind of like it's kind of like floodlit throughout the office, and you notice like just kind of the only points of light are these little tchotchkes on people's desks, and one of which it appears to look like a goldfish just kind of like floating in the middle of the air and kind of swimming around, just within like what you would guess might even be like an invisible bowl or something like that, because it seems to only stay within one area on the desk. Also, Maurice, what does your desk look like? What's on it?
There's definitely a typewriter, like a gray style typewriter on there, and like no digital filing systems whatsoever. Rolodex, old military green filing cabinet, underneath the desk situation. It's got one of like the marble clackers and like the water thingy, and it's a mess. It's covered in notes and sheets of paper and a stack of folders on the side.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. So this is kind of the room. What do you do?
I'm gonna head for those periodicals.
Okay.
But first I want to go
Where,
use my other hand to poke at the fish.
oh yeah. So
It tries to eat me or something.
as you kind of like poke at the fish, it sees you coming and then it just swims around your hand. Like it's almost like when you kind of poke an aquarium, and I'm sorry for being the bad kid that did this when I was 12. When you poke an aquarium where ever the fish are feeding, they kind of scatter. It's like that, except it's kind of like in this area around the desk.
Zach, I wouldn't know what that's like. I've never done anything like that.
We're not bad people like you, Zach.
I know.
We definitely didn't do that when we didn't know better.
I'm a real bastard.
Fucking monster. All right, I'll leave the gold. I'm gonna head over and try to see what happens when I read some periodicals.
Yeah, and these are
what nature? Oh yeah.
So one of them appears to be kind of like a tabloid, which you'd be very familiar with. Another one is a copy of the New York Times, and another one appears to be what looks to be a periodical in, you would guess, is Indian written language. Almost as if somebody has brought them from the Castle of the Lie.
Sorry. I'm definitely gonna check out the New York Times since it's the most familiar.
Yeah, and so you stick your hand on the New York Times, and once again, the ink of this of the Gray Lady basically kind of gets absorbed by your touch, and as you absorb it, there is a bunch of economic issues. There are the names of people you haven't heard before in the middle of current events, and then something really sticks out to you, which is it is the year of the date and the date of the publication is December 17th, 2019.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and you feel a lot more satiated. Like, by the way, which would be more filling for you? Would it be the opinions or the actual news section?
The actual news.
Oh yeah, what was that? And yeah, it's kind of like, and it's a very unique feeling. It's kind of just, it's like having a steak and potatoes after having just like a bite of like some like random snack, like after having like a couple of French fries, or some kind of like random comfort food. You're just like, oh, this is like kind of like workaday type stuff. This is, and you feel that hungry sensation leave you, that hangry sensation leave you.
Replaced by low level. Cool. All right. I guess has Thomas noticed me?
No, not yet. Thomas appears to be completely absorbed, but what do you do? Are you trying to like continue to approach him, or are you?
He's doing something intimidating.
No.
Well, to me, somebody existing in fast forward is intimidating. That's fucking weird.
Okay. Yeah, what
this
do you do?
place is weird. I'm gonna just like slowly back away, not actually back away, but just be like, all right, guess I'll go now.
Yeah.
And head back out to the main entry.
Okay. You're gonna head back to where?
The main entry hall to
Cool.
Acclimation Center.
Yeah, and I think at this point, you get back into the main entry hall as you see the tails of two people running up the stairwell that you descended from. In which case, you hear them say, "He got to the gray room. We got to get him now." like, hurry, 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 and they're pushing through the door to the stairwell, leaving you pretty much completely in the clear in the middle of the main hall.
Cool. I'm gonna go pop outside and see what's going on out there.
Okay. And I think from the brochure or the pamphlet, you probably also get a sense of where the Castle of the Lie would be. But as you kind of like walk out, you're immediately almost hit by somebody in a massive bone shaker that seems to be floating off of the ground by 6 inches. And you hear somebody say, "Watch it!" And this bone shaker has a massive front wheel, as well as kind of this high seat. And somebody, as you kind of look up, you see that a pair of bird wings are attached to the back of the bone shaker in the basket.
Okay.
Yeah,
Like,
Oh,
I'm
one of
just-
those.
Yeah, I'm just like that. That's both in real life and my actual reaction. It's like, okay, all right, and then I'm just gonna like press up against the wall and just kind of get to somewhere that's safe for pedestrians.
yeah. I think you kind
Already,
of. Mhm.
already burned the shit out of my hand. I don't need to get like by whatever the fuck is going on.
Yeah, it's yeah, I think that the very first thing you see as you're kind of like leaving the center is you see a very similar brutalist building across what appears to be kind of like this detritus-ridden street, and it's kind of like in a great deal of disrepair. But in the distance, you see another brutalist building, similarly similar in height, but there seems to be an air of like, it seems like almost like an area of monochromaticness is kind of enveloping this place. It's basically everything around it, including the air itself, is black and white.
What? Huh. Like, how busy is this street? What's going on this street?
Oh, you know, the funny thing about it is that even at its most crowded, Fartown is fairly kind of unpopulous. The war really kind of devastated a great deal of the actual neighborhood and city proper. So,
Okay.
and much of the population is in kind of like has been in decline for a long time, even until the exiles have been kind of slowly making their way back. And so even at its most crowded, there's probably just a few dozen people walking on either side of the street.
Okay. Yeah, monochromatic. That's interesting.
Yeah.
And also not necessarily threatening. So I'm gonna go. I'd like to go check that out.
Okay. And as you are walking, you're kind of like following this main path, and as you're walking through this, you know, this, it's kind of like Dresden after the bombing, but after some kind of cleanup efforts have been underway. But off in the distance, you see patches of, you know, very heavy debris and kind of like ruined buildings. Far off in the distance, this kind of oh wait, it's Fartown, so actually, yeah, no, you would still see this in Fartown. It's, you see kind of like the ruins and debris scattered throughout, like a couple of miles away. And I think, you know, as you're kind of like walking, you hear the sound of a steam whistle as what looks to be a giant train overhead kind of goes through this helical spiral, and then kind of slowly pulls into what looks to be a station that's kind of a little bit far away, but it has emblazoned on the side of it in very kind of Mucha-esque writing, Saturnine Rail. And that's about when you start hearing a low crying down a side street. And you hear what sounds to be like a very pathetic voice going, just crying and sobbing. What do you do?
First, not laugh at that.
Sorry.
In real, good. I am a fucking sucker. I don't like Twigg does not want to let somebody who's injured and needs help
Okay.
be
And
left alone. So I'm gonna cautiously, but I'm gonna go check that out.
okay. So as you kind of like make your way towards this side street, you are hearing. We're actually gonna. You're hearing this kind of sobbing, and you hear it behind what appear to be kind of like this, kind of stylized, very almost like a dumpster, but you haven't seen any. You've kind of like been walking past trash cans and litter cans and what you assume are receptacles for waste, but they all vary differently. And this is a very large, kind of like equivalent of a dumpster again. Kind of very oddly colored. It looks like it's growing out of the wall of the side street, like it's kind of like made of brick, but also kind of each one is kind of colored to match the wall, and it looks like the brick, rather than kind of being latticed and grid work, is actually growing out of the street. And you hear the crying sound coming from behind it.
Fuck it, I'm already dead. So I'm gonna pop my head around this not dumpster and see what's going on.
You see, as you kind of pop your head around, what looks to be a very bald, kind of with scattered hair, very pathetic child, just crying and mewling. And it's kind of hunched over. You can't see its torso, its front. And it's making this pathetic noise. What do you do?
I'm just gonna kind of so the top of the not dumpster, what's that?
The top of the not dumpster is literally just what it looks like. It's kind of like a lot of just garbage is kind of scattered behind and around the child, or what looks like what the child looking creature looks like.
I'm gonna knock on that brick and whatever brick is closest to me and just be like, "Hey, buddy."
And the child looks up with these kind of milky white eyes, and its torso rears up, and you see growing out of it what look to be 6 insectile legs, and it hisses at you. And we're gonna get back to you in just a moment. Smash cut to Maurice and Gav, and you are kind of making your way towards the Castle of the Lie.
Yep.
And I think it's at this point that you guys see a shock of purple going off into a side street, and you hear the sound of sobbing not too far away from you.
Just like a literal purple streak.
Yeah, like just like a shock of purple hair. It seems to be attached to a reedy, familiar looking young person.
So yeah, I think it's really kind of a crapshoot. Like, I don't think I'd be looking for purple hair.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I would be focused on going straight, keep up appearances, go straight.
Okay. What about you, Gav?
So if this is you on your way to work, I'm not like walking next to you. I'm definitely following behind.
Yeah.
And what's the setting like as we get to your office? Are there is it easy rooftop access? Can I be roof hopping here?
I think that the Acclimation Center itself probably is a good couple stories above everything else, but on the way there, absolutely.
Yeah. And
okay.
Cool. And that's when you see 2 small childlike figures as you're kind of walking past it go into a side street, and they're crawling on all 4s.
Well, is it the strangest thing I've seen in this city?
But it's not the strangest thing, but you know exactly what those are.
I do.
Yeah, they are.
What are they?
They are roach goblins.
Come again?
They are roach goblins.
Oh,
Like
Not
the
to be
kind I have in
confused
my
with-
kitchen.
Rat goblins?
They are not rat goblins. They are roach goblins. Much like we have rats and cockroaches, we have rat goblins and roach goblins.
This is putting like all pest issues in a new perspective for me.
Yeah, could be worse.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, like, if you saw somebody walking down the alley and two more emerge from kind of like shadows behind like different obstacles in the city, that they're making for a target of opportunity.
It doesn't look like they're like sort of shepherding us, does it? Just like they're kind of ignoring Maurice and I.
Yeah, they're ignoring both of you.
And then my next question is that if I'm further away from Maurice, we can't obviously be talking directly to each other. Do we have some method of communication available to us?
Only if you shout. Unless you have a spell.
Not one for that, unfortunately.
Okay. So, yeah, what do you guys, what do you do then?
I'm walking.
I'm gonna follow Maurice's lead on this one because if the game is for me to be noticing, because originally we were looking for like conspiracy level stuff, so it's gonna be more. I was paying attention to colleagues once we got closer. If they were following Maurice. Unless you are particularly interested in these roach goblins, I'm gonna ignore them if you are.
Is it normal to see roach goblins scurrying about?
It is normal, but you do see them clearly going into a side street where you just saw somebody walk into.
So I'll say Duncan kind of perks up and gives a little very non-threatening little bark, and then I'll go, that's probably no good, and I'll think about waving down Gavriel, and then remember I'm trying to be discreet, and then kind of poke my head down the alley. Is everything all right?
Okay, well, I guess I'm following you into this alley. I definitely know Gav is just shaking her head, like, oh, this is gonna go off the rails much faster than I originally thought.
And as you're making your way down the alley, you see attached to the purple hair someone who looks very familiar, being cornered by 3 roach goblins, 2 behind them and 1 in front of them, kind of like lurching at them. And at this point, I need everybody to ready their combat actions.
I unsling the sniper rifle.
And Maurice very unstealthily goes, "It's them!"
Okay, so
Gav stares into the void.
and I am going to turn a card. Okay. And this one is the sealed door. Delay, inaction, barriers unchanging. The door holds more promise than a wall, but a sealed door is perhaps worse for the egress it suggests and then denies. This barrier prevents us from moving forward. It is delay, wasted time, a failed attempt. Still, a door with a keyhole suggests both the existence of a key and something valuable on the other side. Of course. Okay, so this is going to augment all silver spells and actions, and it is going to diminish all gold spells and actions. So basically all actions from silver get +1 to their venture, all actions from gold get -1. So yeah, as you're kind of like looking down this alley, you see them, Twigg, and Twigg, we kind of cut back to your perspective as you realize, oh god, this is not a weeping child, this is a horrible thing. And that's when you hear behind you. What do you do?
I reach into my pocket and I pull out my trusty half brick, which appears to have been the only thing that really came with me from real life.
So I'm going to give you a GM shift, 1 point of joy, as you reach into your pocket, and it's almost like the pocket gives, and there seems to be more depth into it, and you find you can reach your whole forearm into your pocket, and just right in your hand there is this feeling of a something slightly squishy, something slightly furry, like almost like a peach. And what do you do?
Not squeal. My first instinct is I just shoved my hand into my pocket way further than it's supposed to go.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's something squishy and furry, and I'm just like, oh.
Mm-hmm. What do you do? Do you pull it out?
Oh, I pull it out.
And you look at it, and it looks to be this kind of almost like pod. That is, it's like some sort of like seed fruit, but you turn it, and there is in kind of like this natural formation on the skin of the pod is what looks to be kind of a formation of like lesions that resemble a skull, and you get the instinct to throw it. What do you do?
Yeah, I mean, this thing just showed up in my pocket, so like, even if there wasn't something to throw it at, throwing it seems like a good life choice. So I'm definitely going to pitch it at this terrifying thing.
Yeah, you pitch it, and I need you to make an attack action.
Alrighty.
Let me go ahead and pull up. I believe the difficulty might be 4.
Okay. Fuck. Trying to remember which book this is in.
Mm-hmm. Actually, it's 3. What are you trying to remember?
Very unhelpful. Whether this adds any venture to it's 3. Cool.
Yeah.
Whether it adds any bonuses to like venture or anything like that.
Let me double check. Are you talking about the pod?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let me see. I believe I can find...
I don't want to like exit out of this screen because screwy things happen when I go not full screen.
Okay, so the seed bearing pod that you have, fired from a gun or a sling, they inflict +3 damage above and beyond what the weapon would normally inflict if used against living creatures. Even just hurled at someone, they can inflict damage. So let's call it a light weapon, and let's say it's close. And so I don't think you have any skills to add to your venture, so unless you spend an accuracy bene, you probably are just going to be rolling straight.
Okay. Let me look at my pools here. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna add an accuracy bene.
Awesome.
Because holy shit. So that I add, so I roll 2d10, yes?
Yes, roll. I think with this, it's just 1d10, because you're literally chucking something.
Oh, I'm reducing, yes. I'm throwing, and then I'm adding the bene, and it's increasing or reducing, depending on how.
Yeah, I think at this point, you just need to get a 2, unless you're adding damage to it. Like, if you add 2 damage to it.
So if I get a 2, I got a 2.
Awesome. Oh, hey, well done. Okay.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Oh, yeah. So you chuck the pod at it, and it seems to catch it and hiss at you, and it catches it in its hand, and then you watch as it kind of like shrieks, and the hand that caught the pod begins to necrotize, and it just starts to decay in front of your eyes, and the decay goes down this one human-like arm attached to this roach goblin and begins spreading at its side, and it begins to clutch at itself and back away from you. The other two hiss and begin to move closer. Gav, what are you doing?
Unslinging my
Did you
sniper
say-
rifle.
Did you say kiss or hiss?
Hiss. You don't
It
want to
still
give these
sounds
things
like
a kiss. You do not want to give these things a kiss.
No. And since I'm already further back, I think I am just gonna line up my set on one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of give like a nudge to Maurice to be like, just walk like 2 inches to the left for me, please. And then I'm gonna add an accuracy bene and throw a sortilege in there
Okay.
and fire.
All right.
The sortilege is for the damage, correct?
Yeah, the sortilege is yeah, I think the sortilege
It's
is
to make my damage magical.
exactly,
Yeah.
which you can then use your Telepathic strike with.
Hell yeah, I can.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so this is like the part where I always like mix up. Am I subtracting or adding when it comes to venture?
You're adding to your venture, which gets subtracted from the challenge. So actually,
Got it.
Oh, okay. So actually, with your far skills, your far
Right.
range skills, that's a
That's
2.
a 2 already.
Yeah. So if you added an accuracy Benny to hit, you just hit automatically.
I rolled a 9.
Yeah. Oh, perfect. Okay. So, all right. So this is great and you get the sense that these things are not very formidable, because as you fire, and what does it look like when you fire the sniper rifle and you apply magic?
Like bringing a giant bazooka to a knife fight. I think whenever I add magic into it, I think we saw a little bit of this when we were in the blue. But it always looks like as like my hands are like on the trigger, that you see me like pushing multicolored strands of magic in as the shot happens. It goes parallel to the
Mhm.
bullet, and they both hit at the same time. So it's like different colors probably every time depending on my intention. So in the blue, it was kind of more like surreal. Is this really happening? I never know. This time, it's just I'm annoyed. So it's like pinkish red,
Mm-hmm.
like that it literally is chasing the bullet into the creature.
Okay. All right. So, yeah, these kind of the strands of light kind of attach to the bullet. You fire through, and it just blows. It's like it turns it into a fine mist. and you see this thing.
So far, I could become a pest control person because I've shot roach goblins in changing swarms.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And it doesn't get worse than that, really. There's no reason to believe that there won't be things more formidable. But yeah. So basically, you just completely explode this thing, and that is when the final one kind of raises its head, looks and kind of turns and begins kind of like scurrying up a wall and starts
back it up, buddy.
Yeah, it starts making its way actually towards Maurice. And that, speaking of which, Maurice, what are you doing?
So I see this thing coming towards me, and I'm going to try to change its emotional state.
Okay.
So it's feeling very aggressive towards me. I'm going to make it not fearful, but maybe friendly or yeah, friendly. Right. So I'm going to weave these strands of I guess love and how do I put wind in this? Let's say so I'll speak to it. So I'll say like I'll just be like hello friend, and like the whatever leaves on the ground kind of rustle a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
and there's no visible magic, but if there were hairs on the back of the neck of this thing, they would kind of stand up a little bit. So that's what I'm attempting to do, and I'll spend that's a sorcery, or so the level of changing an emotional state is 3.
Okay. In that case, you would spend 3 sorcery.
Okay.
And that would be an automatic hit, I believe. Let me double check the stats.
Good, because so far I can't roll.
Yeah, no, I think you should be okay. All right. So yeah, you hit, and I am going to do another GM shift. You feel as you cast a spell, it's success, and you feel this kind of like loathing and like hunger turn to love, and it looks at you with these like wide open, milky eyes, and it raises its head, and it lets out this not keening wail, but really just kind of like this exuberant cry, and of kind of like friend almost, is if you could attach an emotion to it. And that's when you start hearing more scuttling from behind you, and from behind Gav, and from the further distance, as all of these creatures that were kind of like hanging in the refuse bins from across the street begin surging towards you, as one of them has cried out, "I've made a new friend," in its language. So take 1 point of despair.
Your spells work too well.
As another pack of these things, maybe 3, 4, but another pack of them behind them is starting to move towards you. And
You froze for just a second. Would you just?
Yeah.
We had pack. We got pack, and then there was a.
yeah. So one thing that happens though is that door card was very appropriate, as you feel kind of like this subtle warmth bathe your face in light, Twig, and you feel as though something is bright out of the corner of your vision, and you see a neon sign appear. It wasn't there a moment ago. Across from you, it appears, and there is a kind of disused door that looks in need of a paint job. And there's this neon sign says only one word: 0. What do you do?
There's more of these things heading towards me.
There's more of these things heading towards you, and there are 2 people that look very familiar to you. We're kind of like approaching the alley, but you see behind them maybe 2 or 3 packs, maybe a dozen of these things start heading your way.
Nope. I'm gonna go and turn straight for the door, and then try to open it.
Yeah, it opens easy. It's kind of almost like a push door. It is a push door. It's not like it. Yeah, Maurice, Gav, you see this person that you've been seeking just book it into a door or into like this kind of source of neon light down the alleyway after you've kind of poked a hole through this thing. This
door had just apparated?
It wasn't there before, and it's almost like it appeared out of the corner of your eye. You didn't see it appear, like while your attention was elsewhere, it appeared.
Well, so much for normalcy.
Run in after him.
Okay.
This is not how I thought this day was going to go. And then I follow.
Mm-hmm. And as you're kind of like making your way down the alley, I think the one that's kind of got this necrotic arm is going to start scuttling towards you and going to try to intercept you.
Is that me?
I think, yeah, it's going to intercept. It's actually going to reach out and try to grab Twig.
Okay.
Twig, I need you to make a dodge action. The target you're looking for is 3.
Yep. I'm not proficient in that. Or I don't have that skill or whatever.
Okay. Give me a straight roll.
That's a 3.
Hey, all right. So
Bare minimum, twice in a row.
you feel
That bodes ill.
you feel this injured, like this horrible, like kind of like screech. You hear it as it tries to rake the tips of these claws at the back of your calf as you're moving towards the door, and it just misses. And I think at this point, Maurice and Gav, if you book it, you can just kind of hop over the thing through the open door.
Yep.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And the minute that the door swings shut behind you, you see all three of you, and I think Twigg, you would be a little bit further at this point. There is this kind of anteroom that is bathed in red light from what look to be 3 wall-mounted sconces on either side, and there's an ornate door, glass door, in the front with the same kind of font, actually more kind of like, again, like Mucha-esque, or maybe even closer towards Art Deco script, and this time it says zeros in kind of this lovely script, and there's another door in between you and the one you just came in. Are all of you booking towards it?
Did the other door shut behind us?
It's shut, and you start hearing again on the other side of it more kind of screeching.
So Maurice says to the, we'd better keep moving, and ushers the group forward.
Do we know where they're going?
And Maurice points at the sign, zeros.
And you guys, do you open the door, the glass door in front?
Oh yeah, no, I'm rolling hard away from those fucking things.
And you guys are making it towards the door, and that's when this surge of roach goblins make it into the anteroom just after you. Again, they're chasing after all of you, and I think, Gav, at this point, you hear the voices in your head say,
This is inappropriate. This can't be right. We can't.
And when the glass door opens, you see on the other side of it this very ornate looking fancy cocktail bar. And at this point,
Did they just cut out, or did they just stop talking?
They kind of just cut out as you're making for the door. What do you do?
Come in? What? You can't, or did I lose you?
There's no response.
Oh no! Is it? So we're stepping inside. Is it because I walked into a bar?
Yeah, it is because you walk into a bar.
They won't let me drink?
I didn't say that.
I'm feeling like I'm about to be judged from on high.
They are apparently judgmental celestial beings.
Yeah. So,
Okay, I think my worry goes down, and then as I take in the atmosphere, I just go, "Oh, I see. Well, we're gonna have to work on that."
and as you kind of go through the glass door, finally, you turn, and as the roach goblins begin filling the antechamber, there's almost like this sound of like a cough, and all of them just are atomized. You watch as all of them disintegrate, and that's when you hear, all of you, a voice say in a very dulcet tone, "Sorry about that. Welcome to Zeros." And you see this figure behind the bar in a slick suit pants with suspenders, and their sleeves are rolled up as though they're kind of at an oyster bar, and they have shoulder length short-cut hair that's a very deeply black hair. It's almost like you don't get any kind of reflective sheen off of it, and the hair is tucked behind one ear, and they say, "I'm Roz. Welcome to Zeros. What can I get you?" And that's when you notice that there are at least 24 people in the bar, having watched you sprint through the door.
That's great. I definitely still have my sniper rifle like at the ready, and I'm just like,
Brick.
What? And will you have permitted me to have scooped up Duncan and run with him in my arms?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. So I've still
we
got
had something-
Duncan.
I think Duncan was the first one at the glass door, actually. I think he sprinted ahead.
So Maurice, with a handful of dog, says, "Are dogs allowed?"
And Roz kind of inclines their head, thinks about it, and then looks at you and says, "Whatever you like. Come
Thank
on in."
you.
And I think, I don't know, do we need to do a bio break or anything like that?
I would vote for that.
I'm good.
You're good?
I'm out of.
Okay. All right. So yeah, so you are in this fanciful cocktail bar, and on every side of you are these kind of, you see that the countertop that Roz is behind is this really kind of luxurious looking marble counter, and there is a very kind of lovingly kind of script menu on kind of standing upright on the counter itself. And the people that are in here, they look like just people going about their business, kind of just very kind of, I think they were all kind of like, you're kind of like the most happening thing, and then everybody kind of like hits that moment in the cantina scene where they acknowledge what happened, and then they just turn back to their drinks and their conversation. And the sheer kind of variety of people in this establishment are something else. You see in one corner just someone animatedly talking who happens to have a set of tentacles that she's gesticulating wildly with at the end of her arms, and speaking to kind of a disinterested man. You see someone who just seems to be kind of like listening into a lot of other different conversations. You see someone who seems very bookish in one corner, reading through a manual, and kind of just quietly sipping a drink. And I think actually you see just, what was it? A couple of other figures, but I want to capture, what are you guys doing now that you're in this kind of place of relative safety? And now that I say relative safety, I'm going to turn another card. And it's the doctor again.
Ooh.
Okay. So, yeah, go ahead. Tell me what you guys up to.
I think I re-sling my gun first off.
Hmm.
Pretty confused because I wanted to be getting like further in on what's going on with the city, and now we seem to be here. But that being said, Zach, is there anyone that looks like me?
I think there's probably a few people that have very clearly been to the Changeries, who seem to be sipping cocktails. I think somebody is probably talking animatedly to another person with kind of these like plumes of light in their hair, but you kind of think that there must be something going on with that person that might be similar to what you have, but on cursory inspection you just realize that it's just kind of like it's almost like an affect. It's not really, you don't kind of
no
like
actual feathers.
Yeah, you don't get a defined sense.
Mm.
Maurice is looking around. Is there space at the bar near Roz, or maybe is there a secluded booth or table somewhere that we could go?
It looks like all of the booths are pretty much taken. However, there is at least 4 or 5 seats by Roz.
I look to them and to Gavriel, and gesture over to the chairs and let's.
I guess if we're doing this,
Yeah.
And let's walk over.
And I was gonna say, Twig, you recognize these people from the dream. I was gonna say this is a fairly crystal clear, people that you recognize them immediately. It was the crystal clear portion of the dream. What's your kind of sentiment? What are you thinking as you kind of see all this unfold?
Like, I'm still definitely kind of convinced that I'm dead and or dying. So this is weird, but I'm just like, hey, you guys were there when I died.
Yes, let's talk about that.
You're
I'm
not
Maurice,
dead.
by the way.
Twig, lovely to meet you. But I'm just saying, dead is the most logical explanation. You guys are probably my hallucination.
Oh, no, I understand that confusion. Believe me, I actually really did die to get here, but unfortunately for us, we're not actually dead.
And Maurice, since this is his job, as we kind of get to the chairs by the bar, I just go, this actually works most of the time. Have you seen The Matrix?
What?
I didn't understand this reference either when he did it with me.
Okay, so the next one is Plato's Cave. The idea, and I'm going to use my forte where I tell a story that if let's see, let me.
So as he's speaking to me, I'm going to grab the menu off the bar and read it.
Oh, and as you read it, again, the ink drains from it, and you understand exactly all of the drinks that are on offer. There is something called the red wine. There is a drink called the coiffure, which is just kind of has a little signature sign by it that says new. And then we also have the high water. And then there is, I believe, something called Abusa or Abusa, which is just kind of like a very, and you kind of get the sense of the ingredients. So you get all of like the list of them, and none of it makes sense to you. Like some of it seems like it's coming out of like the weird sister scene from Macbeth, and other ones are just like, distilled, directly from the red. What do you do? And by the way, as the menu, as you kind of drain the ink from the menu and the knowledge from it, Roz looks at you, kind of tilts their head at you, goes, and produces another menu from behind the bar and hands it to Maurice and Gav.
So, seeing this happen, am I familiar with this kind of magic?
Why don't you actually, you know what? This would be probably magic that isn't really kind of like as part of an order or part of kind of like magical rule or law. So why don't you actually, or kind of like an orderly magic, why don't you give me a magical knowledge roll? And I think you get 1 to this venture, and let's say that the target is a 5.
Okay, and I can spend a bene for my intellect pool on this?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll do.
Okay.
So my venture is now 2.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm basically looking for a 3 or better.
Yeah.
3 exactly.
Excellent. Yeah, you guys are rolling a lot of 3s. That's all right. Lucky for you. So you understand, you've heard about some of this while you were kind of like speaking with I remember like as you were probably having this discussion with Kyrrie, she probably learned about logivores around sometime during when you guys were kind of like reacclimating together, and she spoke with nothing but contempt of them. She's just like, oh my god, there are people that actually eat the books that we need, and how dare they? And
so I take the menu from Roz and look at What'd you say your name was again?
And me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just like, Twig. And you are...
Twigg. Maurice. Oh boy.
You can
oh
call
boy,
me
boy. Okay.
Gavriel.
And I say, thank you very much, Roz. And with my face, try and make it so that Roz will give us a little bit of space.
You have any vodka?
And she, or rather, they look at you and say, "Well, I have high water if you're feeling,
I hate this place.
but I can also bring you simple water if you're not up to spending a few orbs for a good drink." There's an
I asked for a good drink. I don't think you have what I would.
Oh.
Then I stop and I rethink like how Maurice has talked to me about speaking to new people, and I just sort of rephrase that, and I'm like, no, thank you. We'll be fine.
I think at that point, I think you hear from Roz, "Careful, remember where you are." Yeah, what do you do?
That was definitely in my head.
No, that wasn't in your head. That was said with a very creepy voice, very audibly to the three of you.
Trust me, I could not forget where I am, and I've tried.
I mean, dead.
I'm
It's still
not
the
dead.
operating theory.
Yeah,
Well,
I
you
still
would
need to
say that.
explain
You're
that
my
to you.
hallucination.
I'm definitely not your hallucination.
I lean in close to Roz. And do we have you to thank for the rescue?
And they kind of lean in back and say, "Well, I'm always interested in, we, I should say, are always interested in meeting fresh company, meeting new clientele. You just happen to be on our path as we were opening for the night. Or day, rather. It's 5 o'clock somewhere."
So
and they kind of snicker at the joke.
So what are you following us?
more
Oh.
of a fortuitous coincidence, maybe.
I don't believe in
Maurice looks around.
fortuitous coincidences.
And I think at that point, Roz says, "Someone has a very inflated sense of self-importance. This is Zero's. You are not the first guests. You will not be the lasts. And this may be your last time if you continue to be so rude to us."
Let's see what's on the menu.
And they look at you and says, "Well, if you want to try a different change of style, I recommend the coiffure."
Sure, I'll do one of those. I'm buying. Order some drinks.
Okay.
Well, now my attitude changes. If you are buying the weird non-drinks, yes, I will get one, but it's not real alcohol.
And
Well, none of this is real. I think we've established.
Again, not true, but just bear with me.
And I think at this point, they look at you and they say to Twig and to Gav, "Well, for the two of you, I recommend the high water. In fact, it's actually a bit of a local custom, if you'll pardon a bit of the ritual. But here, let me get those for you." And you watch almost, and you realize that I think I think you especially, Maurice, you understand that magic is such that if they wanted to, Roz could just conjure and apparate the drink themselves in like one spontaneous moment. But instead, what you see are kind of this just laborious kind of preparation of ingredients. It's really more for effect, just because magic would make this so much simpler. And you get the sense that this is kind of like part of the branding and the marketing, so to speak, of the bar. And soon enough, there are 2 beverages in front of Gav and Twig that look like fulminating concoctions that are kind of like clear with a little slice of lime in both. Or at least what you think looks like a lime. And in front of Maurice, there is this kind of short glass of very orangey, liqueur-laced kind of nice, citrusy smelling concoction. And who drinks first?
Well, I want to look at the menu and see what I ordered.
So you ordered the coiffure, and the menu is essentially feel like a change for the discerning gentleman woman entity / may we recommend a change of style. And you see kind of like hints of citrus, feelings of pride on the rocks, and really kind of like it's very cursory.
I will wait to drink. What I wanted to do before this happened is, as we're making our way, could I have taken an action to refresh my sorcery pool?
Absolutely. Completely.
Okay,
right.
that happened. That happened. I'll let you guys.
Also, I believe, Maurice, you were in the middle of telling a story to Twigg.
Well, that was immediately interrupted by the menu disappearing inside of it.
Okay.
Oh boy. Oh.
Yeah, so do you want to pick up that story, or do you want to wait for see what about the drinks?
Yeah, I'll let you guys decide to drink or not.
Oh, I take a shot.
Okay, so as
Yeah,
you
I'm
kind
dead,
of
man.
do both of you move to take a drink? So
I
think,
do.
Yeah. I think what happens is Roz kind of like gently puts a hand on both of you as you kind of move to the drink, and they say, actually, there's something of a ritual. And a few words appear in front of your eyes as if made out of kind of like this hazy smoke, like cigarette smoke, and in quotations marks, you see the words "better than hell." And they say to you, go ahead, say it.
What does it say?
Better than hell.
Well, that's ominous.
Huh.
It's
Better.
than hell.
Yeah.
Better than
Twigg,
hell.
Yeah.
Twigg grabs their glass and says, "Better than hell."
Yeah.
Yep.
And so you guys have a drink of the high water, and it's kind of like, it's like basically kind of like just a workaday. It's almost like having a watered down gin and tonic a little bit. It's kind of like refreshing, but not really. You feel like it probably could have tasted better. And then all three of you say in unison, both you and Roz, I made the wrong choice. It's almost as if you couldn't help saying it. And then they look at you and say, well, and that's our little tradition.
What just happened?
You had high water. It's better than hell.
No, afterwards.
Well,
What we just said.
yeah. You made the wrong choice. It's tradition. You basically choose hell or high water, and regardless of what you choose, you made the wrong choice.
You have a very strange establishment.
Yes. We are...
Can I get a shot of the hell?
I wouldn't recommend it. Red wine tends to eat away at the person that drinks it. It's only for discerning clientele.
I think Gav wonders what would happen if she drank that, given her current housing situation.
Mm-hmm. Is a very interesting question that we can answer if you like.
Most tempted.
During-
I'm so tempted.
During this this drinking ritual, I think Maurice was preparing a spell, and he'd like to do telepathy by touch.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's a level 3. I think to involve 2 people, that would boost it up 1.
Mm-hmm. And I think these are, because these are willing creatures, this actually works fairly easily without a roll.
Okay, so I kind of grab the shoulder of Twigg and maybe the forearm of Gavriel, and this warm sensation comes over you, and like that like when you put your ear up to like a seashell and you hear that kind of like echo, and I begin to communicate with you guys telepathically. I said, this would be the safest way to talk, and keeping eye contact with both of you.
And Roz turns her their back to you and begins kind of walking down the rest of the bar.
And we can communicate telepathically back to you while you're still holding on to us?
Right, and I'm just very gently touching you.
Whoa.
Yeah.
And so I turn to Twigg and say, you keep saying you're dead. You're the farthest thing from it. This is the most alive you've ever been. Welcome to Saturday. And I'll launch back into the story of Plato's cave, and using every allegorical side street from there, and just doing my best to make it a kind of a jaunty. I'll go into a little bit of the plot of The Matrix. Like, oh, it's great. It's really good, classic. And yeah, so basically you're being entertained by this kind of middle height, kind of overweight guy with a big bushy beard and wearing this these very very normal clothes, not unlike those that you saw in the stairwell when you were escaping the Acclimation Center. Khakis, loafers, a sweater vest, and he's sweating a little bit, but he's very very animated. And if you're listening for, I think, a half hour is the
I believe the magic is a half hour at the very
So giving you kind of this primer into the gray versus the actuality. And if you listen for 30 minutes, you guys get one bene to a pool of your choice.
Oh, cool.
Not only that, but having listened to Maurice relate this story to you, you feel actually heartened and happier. You feel like there is kind of like this sense of optimism that they are imbued towards you. And you kind of you kind of get the sense that you could probably talk to Maurice about anything. And I think that, Gav, you've had this sensation before as you've kind of met. As you've met Maurice, or probably not too long after it. You get the sense that, even more so that he's doing his best to help and be...
Yeah, I think when he pulled this with me, I was really pissed off and angry. And this kind of brought me out of that. So by comparison, this is going really well.
I think Twigg, the way Twigg's going to respond to this is that they're like, you make some solid points. I'm not 100% convinced.
Can you put that on hold? And he takes his hand off to you to get a drink and drinks it, and then puts it down, and then puts his hand back.
So, Maurice, what does your hair look like?
Oh no.
It is a pretty thick still. No baldness. Mostly dark brown, but flecked with white. His beard is a little whiter than the top.
And what style would you say that is the beard, both the beard and the hair?
Professorially unkempt.
So you put down the drink, and both of you, when you hear the glass clink on the bar, you watch as his hair kind of twines itself and kind of basically reorganizes itself into a very neat part, and you see as this kind of unkempt beard kind of very smoothly tapers and kind of meets the appropriate line above the Adam's apple, and just looks very well manicured. And I think at this point Roz has kind of turned back to you and says, don't worry, it only lasts if you order a second drink.
I think Gav is cracking up.
Wait, did you just get a haircut from an adult beverage?
I look down at the drink and at myself, and I go, "There's honestly weirder things."
Yeah, so Twig, you got kind of this come to Jesus from Maurice. How are you feeling? What are you doing? Where's Twig's head at?
I'm like not 100% convinced, but like I think I'm at the point where like I'm like you make a solid argument, and I don't have enough evidence to disprove what you're saying. So let's go with that for now, I guess.
I think Gav is gonna ask you, so when did you come from?
What now?
When did you come from?
Yeah, no, I heard you. What now? Like, what do you mean when?
What time
Maurice
did
is
you
going
come
to-
from?
I mean, I
What
got
year?
shot. Oh, what year? I thought you.
And Maurice
well,
goes, "Ooh, 1987."
No, but
Am I close?
1984.
Good year. Good year.
What is that? What does that
1984?
even mean? What do you mean good year? That year's it's kind
I
of
mean-
going horribly.
I mean, for me, it was a good year.
Well, I got brought back here in 1942.
That year, I don't remember.
From my understanding, that was a bit of a interesting time.
Yes, you could say that.
Bit eventful.
Oh, definitely was. Yes, I grew up in Moscow,
In
so one can imagine.
1942.
Well, not in 1942. That's the year I got here. Only to find out that my perception of time is apparently off by a couple decades.
You watch Twig kind of like put all of this chronology together, combined with the fact that I ate a newspaper from 2019. That I'm
Do you say
talking to
that?
somebody.
Do you let us know that you made a newspaper from 2019?
No, I don't think I would say that out loud. I would just because like I'm still kind of like I definitely ate paper. Like I don't necessarily feel bad about it, but I'm not about to like tell people about it since like that dude was real intense about he was just like, oh, it's gonna be a fucking level 5 calamity. Fucking little mini Ronnie Reagan over there. So Twig's just kind of like, okay, cool.
And Maurice, still, touching with you, says, "Now, normally, this is when I would ask you more details about your life. I really would love to hear it. We have more pressing matters, other than getting chased by Roach Goblins, and that was weird. And now we're here, which is also weird, and I have questions we need to talk about." And Maurice, even though this is a telepathic conversation, still looks around. What happened last night? What do you remember?
Well, I got shot in the head. I don't know about you guys.
Wait, by Gavriel? And
I didn't shoot him.
Twig goes, no. Like, I got shot in the head in the real world. Or, what? The Gray.
Oh, you got shot
He's
in the
doing
head?
so well.
No, fun coincidences. I got shot in the chest, and I like gesture to the gaping void with the
Is
spinning
that
halo.
visible?
Oh, it's always visible.
It's always visible. Oh, yeah, because, like,
Always.
even if you were, like...
Yep.
Yeah, that's, and I'd, like, point at the feathers, and I'm just like, yeah, you've got some things going on.
Trust me, they weren't there until I woke up here.
Like, I didn't think it was polite to comment on it.
And actually, as you're kind of talking about the getting shot in the head, Twig, you start feeling this pain behind your eyes. It's like a slow, dull pain, like a headache. It's like almost like the memory of it is just sticking with you.
Rude.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and then what
Then
else? No, go ahead.
pinch and then groan because I just used my dominant hand, which is burn shit.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Still. And I'm just like, well, fuck, dude.
And I noticed that. Oh, I'm so sorry. We'll take care of that in a minute. But after you were shot, you were in the blue with the large angel. You remember that, right?
Yeah, I remember the 8-winged angel and then the things that talked, and I threw a 9-volt battery and it turned into a bunch of 9-volt batteries and then they exploded.
Oh yeah, I forgot that. Yeah. Okay, so that is not normal. I know you've seen a lot of things that aren't normal, but like that's not normal for us. This is something else. I was told to help you. Specifically, I was called to help you.
As was I, which is even stranger.
Me? I don't really need
Yeah.
help other than not being fine. Or you see me struggle to like deal with the fact that like it's apparently appropriate to think that you're dead. I don't really remember anything. So other than those fucking creepy things and the fact that I apparently now can eat words.
Do you remember having a life here?
No.
Neither do we.
And that's the other thing. Is normally
There's
after
that
I
one.
give, after the speech about the Matrix and everything, it starts to jog some memories and people remember a little detail, and from there we can find the way to the life that they had. They can find their home. They can find their old life. And I wish them well from this point. But that actually never happened to me. It never
Or
happened to
me.
Gavriel.
Do you remember that? Wait, do you remember stuff from the gray too?
As much as I can. It's not perfect, that memory, but I love the gray. I think I might be the only one, but I do love it.
You think you're the only one?
Well, that really, that's not a conversation right now. What the point is, Twigg, I think you might be in danger.
I gathered that, and also the roach things, and then the flying mouth things. What are those? I don't.
What, the changing swarms from the blue?
Is that what they're called?
Supposedly.
Yeah.
That was really my first and only time encountering them in, well, real life.
Like those don't just attack people normally.
Well,
Right.
I haven't seen it, but I guess it's possible.
We can put things on two sides of things that normally happen. Normally, people live in the gray. They think everything's real, and they come back. Normally, they remember here aspects of it, magic. Normally, they arrive without going through the blue. What's not normal? We all met in the blue. You were escorted by a 6-winged angel, and we were told to protect you, and none of us remember what we're doing.
Wasn't there
here.
somebody else there?
Yes, Kyrrie. We're going to try to meet her later today at sundown.
Now, Gav does not know Kyrrie very well, correct? It's
Wait,
just
sundown. Are you the one that sent the weird bug to talk to me?
Yeah, was that clear?
No, it was really I thought I was
you.
hearing things.
I agree. As somebody who's frequently always hearing things, that was a little disconcerting.
Because there was like a bug
and then I was hearing voices.
Right. No, I really appreciate this feedback. Thanks to both of you. Really appreciate that.
Could you fill out this survey, please? Rate our customers.
How was your moth experience? So Maurice says, right, Kyrrie. Well, I met Kyrrie, well, be 3 or 4 years ago when I first came out of the Grey. And, she was very kind to me, and we were acquaintances, I guess. And we spent some time together. Magic didn't come very easy to me, and she helped me. But we haven't spoken since. I have no idea where to find her. But she did get a moth, and, maybe has no idea what that means.
So, hopefully she's a bit smarter than the rest of us and is able to pick up on where we need to.
She's the smartest person I know.
Oh, well done.
Is there a reason why you didn't just call her?
Right. So, what you think of as like a phone or any sort of, doesn't quite exist the same way here. The most efficient way to do things would be magic or maybe just a courier. But I also have to know, like, where she is, and I don't.
That also seems very inefficient. I just want to point out that phone, courier, yeah, the courier is like down here in terms of efficiency.
And magic is up here.
I don't
Fair
understand it either, Twigg, if that makes things easier on you. I'm still learning, and I've been here for a year.
And Maurice starts launching into another story about the nature of the ether and the interconnected, all the different suns and how. And if you let me get to a half hour, he will go, but maybe you would interrupt him before then.
I think you can physically see like not the gears grinding, but like you can hear the inner mechanism of Twigs trying to readjust their entire framework to all this new knowledge.
And it's like the universe is a spell that's being cast. It's a lot like
Gavriel is just sitting there, like, rolling her eyes and just, like, shaking her head and kind of hoping she had another drink in hand.
I mean, it's the rich history of messianical figures that partaking of the Eucharist, where the God itself is the reality. It's a lot like that. Anyway, that's why you can't use phones.
Yeah, and by the way, you've all been having this conversation, just like looking at each other meaningfully while holding hands. Is that still the case?
100%.
We're just like staring at each other, holding it.
Yeah,
and I'm just like nodding politely for a fucking half hour while you explain to me why phones don't work.
So yeah, really, it's just like a bunch of faces back and forth.
And I think at that point, and let me double check something. So entertain is level 1, so make sure that you're still. I think it still means you're spending sorcery. So just spend 2, and then on top of that, otherwise you could just do this ad infinitum, as long as you had time. But
so I'll say I had to do a rest to be able to do that.
Okay, cool. Yeah, and I think somewhere in the time that you're doing that. And by the way, while you're holding each other's hands, looking meaningfully, kind of like inclining your heads and nodding towards each other and all that stuff, I think at some point after the second time you do this, Roz comes over and says, "So you gonna buy another drink?"
Maurice is a bit startled.
I look over at Maurice, being like,
Yeah. Yeah, I also stare meaningfully at Maurice.
I remove my hands from everybody and I go, clap them together. Of course, I'll have another one of the same.
All right, very well.
Get me something stronger.
And I think she, or they rather, look, kind of incline their head towards the red wine and say, "Are you sure?"
And Maurice inclines his head all the way around. So he's
Wait, are you giving me a look right now that says you really, really don't want me to take it?
It's just an "Are you sure?" look.
Never. So yes, I'll take it.
All right.
What's the worst that could happen? I'll take one.
Oh, that is a good question. We're
I don't
gonna
know.
find
I
out.
just got this weird vibe that like Zach's all like, ooh, drink it. Nothing bad is gonna happen. So no, I
Yeah, I just want to know what bad thing is going to happen to us when we drink this, because there's, it's the red wine, which makes me very anxious.
Well, Twig, you would know what the menu says.
Oh yeah, that's right. What does the menu say? Because I am a
Distilled from the red for discerning clientele only.
That's unhelpful.
nice.
And
I don't see
Maurice-
any problem pouring distilled like devilry down into my body that is not currently possessed by many
So Maurice
you are
would know.
Russian.
And
Maurice would know that the red is demon-esque.
yeah, it's from the red sun, which is the home of demons and devils and all kinds of stuff.
So he'll gently put his hand on Gavriel's shoulder and be like, I think that's for demons?
Yeah, well, at this point, Roz has lined up 3 glasses of red wine.
No, I wanted the orange one.
And what do you guys do?
I'll take one.
I take one of the glasses and I look over at Roz. So what exactly does this do for the wrong clientele?
And you see Roz kind of look at you and then look at the glass kind of wistfully, and looks at you and says, "It's gonna be a nice rush, a good kind of kick in the endorphins, as it were. And I wouldn't recommend more than 1 glass for one of such delicate constitution, though."
1 glass it is then.
So, like, while that's being said, I'm actively, like, just kind of, like, slamming a glass of wine.
Yeah. Okay, so as it goes down the hatch, it is absolutely delicious. It's this sweetness that's kind of attached to it. It's almost kind of like it's like apples mixed with strawberries and berries, and it's kind of like in that case it's kind of like a pink lady apple with a bunch of strawberry essence, and it's just at the delicate part, and then as it kind of moves down your palate and down your esophagus, you feel it burning like a glass of scotch. And not only that, but you immediately begin to feel a sense of numbness in your face. And on top, you feel this rush of endorphins, just this kind of exuberance that goes with it. And it is probably one of the most potent, most delicious things you've ever tasted in your life. It kicks the hell out of any drink you've ever had.
Whoa.
Okay, that's good endorsement. I definitely take it, and bottoms up. L'chaim.
Mm-hmm.
Maurice looks on like a concerned parent.
Yeah, and that same... Oh, actually, no. No, it doesn't. So, Gav, as you down this...
Yeah. What happened?
you feel the presence inside of your body revolt as it treats the wine as though it was like a foreign invader. It's like an immune response as your body begins attacking the wine that you just downed. And I think that both Maurice and Twig, I think you see like the wine pour down your chest through the halo.
Oh, sweet.
And you see the halo light with like cleansing fire. And I need you to take a wound, and you can take 1 point of despair.
Your mic cut off.
Yes.
I'm
One-
gonna take a
Sorry,
what?
guys. I need you to take 1 point of harm, or not 1 point of harm, 1 wound, so 3 injuries.
Oh wow.
And take 1 point of despair as you feel your body rebelling against this demonic essence that you've poured into it.
Wow, you weren't kidding about the kick.
And I think Roz looks at you, sees the halo now, kind of noticing it, sees it alight, and says, "Oh, girl, you came to the wrong place." And
Oh, I didn't say I didn't enjoy that.
yeah, it was delicious before it went down. And I think Roz actually looks very concerned at you. And
am I like recovered from that? Are things going back to normal?
yeah, I think that you are recovered. I think that what ends up happening though is you probably you don't recover from the harm. You take
No.
Yeah, you take still those 3 injuries. But you are like, you're not kind of like convulsing or like kind of floored, but you have the distinct feeling that if you took a second glass, it could kill you.
Nice.
But make sure to mark down 1 point of despair.
I definitely have that.
Okay.
So seeing this, however, physically this wound manifested, like Maurice kind of catches you by the shoulders, and are you all right?
I'm fine. Did it get me drunk though?
Oh yeah, no, you feel a little numbness around your face again.
This is good stuff. It's not vodka, but it's close.
And I look up at Roz, and I want to try and make a determination if this is like, a demonic place. Like if this is something that might be long-term effects might be harmful to Gavriel.
Okay. Go ahead and make me. I think that this would be kind of like kind of magical law. Like it's not like something that's like a part of the orders of magic. It's kind of something out of the way. So I think it's like non-traditional, and you should add 1 to your venture and spend your bene if you need to, or add a sortilege, whatever you like.
Would this be an intellect or perception?
I'm gonna say perception.
All right, I'll spend.
Okay.
So my venture is 2.
All right. And let's say that the challenge, it's going to depend on, you're going to get some information depending, but the bare minimum is going to be 5. So roll at least a 3.
6.
Okay, cool. All right. So with your bene, you remember as you're kind of like learning more about Indigo, you've heard rumors in passing. And guys, don't forget also, if you want to spend hidden knowledge, which is a finite resource, you can do that, and it will add 1 to your venture as well. You just won't be able to get that back or refresh it.
Mike's cutting out a little bit.
Yeah. And I think that with the combined venture having that be an 8, you understand, not only do you know that Zeros is a demonic place, Zeros is literally a demon that became a bar.
Nice.
It just, nobody knows why, nobody knows how, but just one day, Zeros just started showing up, and it would move from place to place, and the bartender would change. And as well as the decor, the style of the place that it is, the style of bar that it is, the menu would have some persistent items, but often would change from day to day. And it's actually you get the sense that it was a real, like, fortunate coincidence, but nothing more than a coincidence that you're here. As for what you've seen of Gavriel, drinking the red wine, you get the sense that maybe she might be slightly adversely affected, or she might, have problems with the choir, but you don't see it doing more harm. But you do notice that the red wine is basically like poison for her.
Check, please.
Also, that was very drug-like. That was intense.
Mm-hmm.
Whew.
Wow. All right. Okay, this place isn't half bad. I mean, this is good.
And Zach, I guess I forgot to ask how long that touch telepathy could last, but I don't think it could last very long.
Let me double check. Actually, what does the spell say? Does it have a depletion?
Well, so Weavers are weird.
Mm-hmm.
My default duration for both of these aspects are 1 round. So I think I would have to have boosted it to make it last longer.
Yeah, I'd say at the very least, I think if you wanted to have it last for as long as you wanted it to, spend 2 more sorcery.
So, okay, there we go.
Cool.
Question, can we take a 5-er?
Yeah, guys, we are at 7:30. We're probably gonna wrap up either around 8:30 today, depending on how things go. But for all of you guys that have borne with us through the technical difficulties, thank you so much. We're really looking forward to continuing the rest of the show in not a heat wave. But in the meanwhile, why don't we all just kind of take a 5-10 minute break, and we'll see you guys after the jump. And we're back. I believe we are, anyhow.
We are.
Guys, thanks again. If you are just rejoining us, we have introduced our 3 characters for this week are back, and we have just had ourselves an interesting scene in the bar Zeros, a demon that is a bar that is actually a demon, or a demon that is actually a bar, depending on your perspective. And
Zach, you just cut out.
I
hard
did?
for us. Yeah.
Oh no. All right.
We heard zeros and then there was...
Okay, hold on. Let me see if I can switch the gain on this, guys. All right, so let's... Okay, maybe that's better. Hold on. There we go. Maybe that's better. All right, so all this being the case, we are going to start with the action back out. You're still in the bar. What are you guys doing now that you've kind of had these numerous revelations, both about the venue itself and about each other?
So we heard about 20% of that.
Oh boy. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can fix some of this.
If you see Marcy's eyes bugging out with a confused expression.
All right.
I'm an open book,
Yeah.
gentlemen. I've been informed that the tech issue is via Discord.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Let me see. I'm gonna just jump off the call and see if I can rejoin.
Sounds good.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, no more anarchy.
Okay, to U.S. Central. Oh, perfect.
As soon as the GM leaves, it's so and a Weaver. So you're outnumbered, Bill.
Yikes.
Oh no! Wait, hold on, and we're back. Okay. Is that better for everybody?
So far, so good.
Oh, perfect. Okay. So we've switched over to US Central, so on Discord, so hopefully that'll help. But yeah, you guys have learned a great deal about each other. You've learned a great deal about your venue, as well as kind of the circumstances of how you met. And before we take any additional actions, I am going to go ahead and also flip a card. Ooh. This one. And let me actually up the gate on my mic so you guys aren't getting the background interference real quick. And okay, maybe that should be better. Okay, so I have just turned over a very interesting card called the Untrustworthy Mirror. It actually boosts golden spells, and it decreases or basically decrements silver spells. Illusion, false identity, failure. Can we trust the mirror? Shadow thinking would say yes, but wisdom gained in the actuality suggests otherwise. When no one can see your reflection, is it really yours? If you have to look in a mirror to confirm your own appearance or identity, how do we know it's not lying? The world is full of illusion and deception. Believing your own eyes isn't always wise, and believing what's in the mirror is a step removed even from that. Yeah, I think actually this probably coincides with the revelation, Maurice, that you have about zeros. Just the fact that it is not what it was kind of sold to you as. You very much kind of like, you don't, I'd say, I think probably the hardest thing to realize is that you don't know the agenda or even kind of like the inner workings of a bar that is a demon and a demon that is a bar. You kind of, I imagine that you guys are, I think you probably feel a little bit spooked remembering what you do.
Right. So I want to try and play it cool. And how do I even go about paying Roz? Is Roz presenting a bill?
Oh yeah, what was it? You go ahead and pay crystal orbs, I imagine, or however many orbs. I think for 6 rounds, you're roughly paying about 120 orbs. So I think that's maybe 1 crystal orb and then 20 glass orbs. So just probably like, it's like a sizable chunk of money, but it's not something you wouldn't be used to paying for like a nice dinner out at Garver's Cafe or any other venue.
So I will produce the orbs and say thank you very much. And as I touch Gavriel and Twig, I was like, we should go.
Yep.
And as
I'm ready to go whenever you. I'm very drunk.
and
What did you just give them?
And I say, can you take the leash for Duncan? I'll tell you on the way.
mhm.
Absolutely.
And I think Roz, they look at you as you're leaving and they say with a wink, leaving so soon. Take care out there.
You've been very nice. Your establishment is strange, but you know it's good.
I'll take that as a compliment then.
Okay, bye.
Yeah, nice to see you. Goodbye.
Yeah, and you guys all funnel out of the glass door. And
Woo!
you you exit through the anteroom that's still red, but there are no remains whatsoever of the roach goblins that attacked you. There's not even ashes. It just seems like they were just completely whatever trace of them that was left is gone. And as you open the door, it leads out onto the side street that you entered through.
What are we doing again?
We were trying to find you, Twig, and I guess we did that.
Hey, successful mission.
Well, part of it, we still need to meet Kyrrie, and I guess the only plan right now is to do so at sunset. And you guys are drunk, and it's not even 10 a.m.
That's a good day right there.
I am offended by the fact that you think I am drunk after only 2 drinks.
And then
Duncan barks.
And I think what happens is as you're leaving, and like I think you see what look to be a number of very young Vizsla passing by, and they look and down the street as you're exiting Zeros, and they see the neon light, and you can tell all of them get very excited, and they say, "Oh, it's Zeros! We found it! We have to find it now! Let's go! Next stop on the pub crawl." And you notice that these are all very young Vizsla. They're about kind of college aged, and one of them has what looks to be a rotating crown of traffic cones, just kind of like orbiting around their head. And another person looks like they had basically blue skin from about their lips down, and another person, it looks like a bunch of college students, and that's when I believe you realize, Maurice, oh gosh, it's time for the Conclave of Yov. And on that note, I think we're going to call it a session. So
The whomst and the what?
perfect. So what was it? A little bow on the end there. It was great. So before we kind of say our goodbyes and our thank yous to everybody for tonight, we're going to do the time-honored tradition of Invisible Sun and have character summaries. So basically what the game asks everyone to do is to kind of explain and think thoughtfully about their experiences that they had in the session, and whether or not they moved closer to any goals that were explicitly stated in their character arcs, and what those character arcs are. And then I award what is called discretionary joy, despair, and acumen for goals that were accomplished. So let's go ahead and start with Gavriel.
All right. Interesting day for Gav, I'd say. Started off fairly successfully, taking a good shot at some roaches. And then went, well, I mean, objectively, we could say it went downhill, but I think she had a great time, despite accruing 1 wound and 1 despair. I mean, have you all never had, like, really bad vodka before? It does the same exact thing. So she's been there, done that.
All right.
More seriously, though, I think she really has to start learning to listen to the choir and stop being such a little shit about everything. And just she needs to figure out what her place is. And she's purposefully trying to not do that.
Okay. And would you say that you've made any strides towards your character arc? And what character arc is that?
Well, I'm starting to uncover. Actually, let me open it up and I could tell you exactly. So a lot of her character arc is to undo a wrong, and I'm trying to learn more about who I am.
Excellent.
Specifically, because I, like all of us, have no connection or memory
Yeah.
to do that before we got interrupted by roach goblins and a really cool bar.
So why don't we award you 1 joy?
All right.
For and I'm also going to give everybody 1 acumen for not only trying out the cocktails at Zeros, but also for making the realization of what Zeros is, and also Maurice in particular for kind of explaining the situation. And speaking of which, Maurice, why don't you tell me about your character summary?
So Maurice is kind of out of his element and unsure of what's going on, second guessing. Paranoia is kind of antithetical to his outlook, but he's in it now. But he feels adventurous. He feels hopeful, and even though he was maybe his spell didn't work the way he wanted it to in the fight, he accomplished his main goal, which was to find Twigg.
Mm-hmm.
And he feels like that the shared telepathy between the 3 of them really established a solid bond, and he feels really good about that. So I would say my character arc, depending on where I got to interact with Twigg, it was either going to be instruction or aid a friend.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this is aid a friend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So in addition to the discretionary acumen that everybody got, I want you to take 1 acumen for the first step on aid a friend, because you successfully found the friend to aid. And let's go ahead and award you 1 joy as well. Cool. Twigg, tell me about your day.
Ooh, well, I started out by eating a fucking pamphlet, which was interesting. And I think that Twigg's experience was a steady uphill from there, despite a lot of confusion, not tiny amount of terror and or apprehension. Twigg's character arc that they kind of, I guess, are sort of building to is they've learned a little bit more about the world of Saturnine, which is relevant because they don't remember anything. And this complete lack of memories is distressing and apparently not normal. And I guess Twigg's not dead, so that's somehow disheartening.
Aww.
Like, that was the easier answer, but it also feels right. Like, I think Twigg feels much more comfortable now that they know that magic's a thing, and then it just feels right and natural.
Nice.
And like having nommed on some written words, they're just like, oh yeah, okay, this is dope. And then they didn't die, and then they got real fucked up on like demon wine. I don't know. I think Twigg's like in a pretty good place right now. Things make a little bit more sense, even if they don't make any sense at all.
And now you know what the Matrix is by having it described to you as well.
Yeah, I think that like I'm still really confused about a lot of that.
It's hard to conceive of bullet time until you see it.
Also, computers and robots to that level, but like the whole thing's really confusing. To like somebody who's like, I played in Dirt in 1984. Like,
you think you're confused?
yeah, fair, touche. So in general, I think Twigg is like not less confused, but more contextually comfortable.
And I think that was it your arc is what? Uncover a mysterious past, or what is?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you've taken your first step on that. So award yourself another 1 point of acumen and take 1 joy. And that I think concludes character summaries. Now, before we sign off, I want to give a huge shout out to Ned of Encounter Party, who
The real MVP tonight.
The real MVP. Literally, Marcy's internet literally melted down, and she would not have been able to stream if it wasn't for the fact that Ned let her use his studio. So thank you so much. Everybody should be watching Encounter Party, or not watching, listening to it. Listening to Encounter Party. It is a fantastic podcast. It just concluded its first 17 episode season. Check it out. It's set in Ravnica, and it's a D&D 5e show, so check that out. And then we're going to see you guys in another 2 weeks, and I think hopefully the Heatwave will be mostly done, so everything will be a little bit more stable. And thank you guys so much. This is I thought that it couldn't get much better than our first episode, but you guys topped it with a second, so thanks so much.
Thanks, guys.
Bye, everyone.
And may the and may the invisible sun shine on you all.